In the previous video, I explained the practice system of Tibetan Buddhism, such as the 6 yogas of Naropa. This video explains the practice system of Mahamudra and Dzogchen in Tibetan Buddhism. First, I will explain Mahamudra. Mahamudra is one of the key teachings of the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. The teachings of the Kagyu school were passed down from Indian to Lopa to Naropa, from Naropa to Tibetan Marpa, and from Marpa to Milarepa, from master to disciple. Mahamudra is sung in Tilopa's Song of Mahamudra. Mahamudra is done in steps, in the order of one-pointedness, non-elaboration, one taste, non-meditation. First, I will explain the first step, one-pointedness. Our mind is usually scattered and bound by attachment to various things. Tilopa teaches us to break the attachment to desire, hatred, and self-consciousness from the roots of the mind. Then, he teaches us to conquer distractions by breaking the various attachments. You can collect the scattered mind, and you can keep it to yourself. Then you can feel it as energy. Then, I will explain the next step, non-elaboration. Tibetan esoteric Buddhism teaches that everything arises from the foundation, which has 3 aspects: emptiness, clear light, and wisdom. Tilopa teaches us to focus on nothingness and to observe the mind with the mind, and to remain in the natural state in a relaxed way. Observe the mind that is collected within you by one-pointedness. Then, without thinking, let your mind dissolve into emptiness, which is beyond duality. When the mind dissolves into emptiness, you feel bliss. And it is the natural state, so no further effort is needed. Then, when you walk, sit, or sleep, you continue to be in the natural state. Then I will explain the next step, one taste. When the mind completely dissolves in emptiness, the mind enters the clear light. In the clear light, there are no subjective and objective views. Tilopa calls it the place where the light of the sun and the light of the mother merge into one. That is the state of Mahamudra. Then I will explain the next step, non-meditation. Non-meditation is the step where you can reach the state of Mahamudra without meditating. There is no difference between meditation and post-meditation, and you can be liberated from rebirth. Next, I will explain Dzogchen. Dzogchen is a central teaching of the Ningma school of Tibetan Buddhism. The founder of the Ningma school is considered to be Padmasambhava, a great Indian esoteric ascetic. There are many legends about his magical powers. Later, Longde Rinpoche established the practice system of the Ningma school. It is a practice system centered on Dzogchen. He explains that everything manifests from the three aspects of truth: emptiness, clear light, and wisdom. In the practice of Dzogchen, the mind is brought closer to the truth that is deep within the mind. Then, pure wisdom and clarity appear in the mind. This is the state of contemplation called rigpa. On the other hand, the state of ignorance caused by dualism is called marigpa. Keeping the mind in the state of contemplation, called rigpa, is the core of Dzogchen practice. Dzogchen has three methods of practice: the Semd, the Longde, and the Menngagde. First, the Semd is almost identical to the four-stage training method of Mahamudra. Next, the Longde is a method of practice that allows one to quickly enter into contemplation. There are four methods of the Longde. In the first method, you open your eyes and visualize clarity. Then you enter into contemplation. In the second method, without thinking, the mind is brought closer to emptiness. Then you enter into contemplation. The third method is to gently squeeze the muscles of the urethra and anus, which are the lower gates of the body. Then you feel energy and bliss. Then you enter into contemplation. The fourth method is to do all three at the same time. Then you enter into contemplation. Next, I will explain the practice of the Menngagde. The Menngagde is the core of Dzogchen. The practice of the Menngagde includes the practices of Trekcho and Togal. The practice method of Trekcho is the practice of remaining in the state of rigpa. When you enter contemplation and your mind dissolves into emptiness, you feel bliss. Then, your mind becomes clear. You don't need to make any more effort, because this is the natural state. You continue to relax and remain in the state of rigpa. The goal is to remain in the state of rigpa throughout the day. When you are able to remain in the state of rigpa throughout the day in the practice of Trekcho, you are ready for the next step, Togal. The practice of Togal further deepens the state of contemplation, and you enter the clear light. In the practice of Togal, by dissolving the mind into the truth that is deep within the mind, the light becomes visible to the eye. Then, when the light appears, you keep looking at it, so that it does not move. Then, the light increases. Different visions appear in the light, and the increase of the light reaches its extreme. Then, all phenomena disappear and the truth that is beyond duality. The distinction between subjective and objective also disappears. When the Togal practice is completed, the immortal astral body called the rainbow body arises. Then you are liberated from rebirth.